back with Messy on Purpose, and I have Brian with us today, and he is going to do a little introduction on himself, and then we're going to kind of dive into addiction and mental health today.
Hey guys, my name is Brian Meholick. I am 46 years old. I live in Mentor, Ohio. March 16th of 2026, I will have 5 years of continuous sobriety. I am dual diagnosis, which means I am a drug addict and I have a mental illness. Um, I've been to 58 rehabs, multiple detoxes, multiple psych wards, um, and I'm here today, sober, and I'm a productive member of society, which nobody ever thought I would be. And I'm happy to be able to talk about mental health and addiction with you guys. So there's that.
So, where did this journey begin? How young were you when you started using substances?
The first recollection of me using substances was at my aunt's wedding. My grandfather, him and I drank whiskey sours, and I think I had 11 of them, and I think I was like 11 or 12 years old.
Your
And I
first
remember
time you had 11?
I'm pretty it was there, yeah, 10 or 11 because we had a Dodge
Wow.
Caravan and I puked outside of it on the way home. I remember that. So
Oh
my
my gosh.
grandfather, yeah, he got me drunk for the first time. And I had had sips of my father's beer, you know what I mean, like growing up, and um nothing really extensive. In high school, weed back then. I was a three sport athlete at my high school, and so hanging out with the jocks and stuff, alcohol and chewing tobacco and marijuana and cigarettes. That was all back in the mid '90s. That was what the jocks did. So we'd go to parties, and I'd have one or two beers, and or I'd smoke some weed, and that was pretty much about the end. That was pretty much it with that. Going into college, being on my own, the alcohol was more available. Adderall and alcohol was available. Xanax and alcohol was available, and I just you know didn't really dive head first, but my pinky toe was definitely submerged, if you want to say. I went to college and I was a Division I baseball player. I went to the University of Akron, um, and I was a father at age 19, my freshman year of college. We had my daughter, and you think the partying would stop there, because now I'm going to be a respectable dad, and I'm a college athlete. Well, no, it just got worse from there. Um,
Was it stress induced that kept making it worse?
I wasn't stressed because I didn't care. You know what I mean? I'm
Oh.
the I'm the Division I athlete. I'm the one that's going to stay in school. My daughter's mother, she had to stop going to school and raise our daughter because I'm self entitled, and there here comes the mental illness, which comes into play later. But I didn't give up anything. My daughter's mom gave up everything. So um, fast forward a couple years. I was never the best. You know what I mean? Like I wasn't the best player on my team by any means. But I had a chance to play professional baseball when I got hurt. Um, so I played. I well, I can rewind a little bit. So going into my senior year of college, my daughter was 2. I got arrested for importation and possession of anabolic steroids. So my coach told me I could not participate in Scout Day, which was going into my senior year. That was the most important fall ball practice day of the year, is when all the Major League Baseball scouts would come watch us play. So I ended up transferring to a school in South Carolina, and I got out of that mess and I played baseball down there my senior year. I was supposed to get drafted in the 20th round, and I tore my ankle up pretty bad. The drinking progressed from there. The pain pills progressed from there. I was able to put that down, and I played in the Frontier League independent professional baseball. I played in 5 games and then retired because I just didn't want to do it anymore. So um, fast forward 2 years or a year and a half after that, I wanted to play again, and I went back to the Frontier League into the draft, and I was drafted in the second round, first pick of the Evansville Otters as a shortstop, and went into spring training and ended up getting hurt. I tore my hamstring, and then I punched my helmet and broke my hand. So that was pretty much it from there, from my baseball playing days. So that was that with the sports. You know, it was a wild ride all through college. You know, the substances were always there. Alcohol was the main one because the bars. You know, you could get into any bar. You know, underage or whatever, especially being a baseball player. Um, but when I got hurt playing baseball, I graduated college in 2004 with my bachelor's degree in business and organizational communication. Um, and I got a job as a dock supervisor at Yellow Freight. It was one of the national trucking companies, and it was a good job, you know. Um, a guy I met while working there. Well, I'm going to say his not his last name, but his first name was Mike. He was a dock worker, and I had my own apartment, and he used to come over, and he started bringing in the substance that I always said I no, there's no way I would ever do this, and it was cocaine. And being the athlete with the Adderall and the alcohol, um, when I was a dock supervisor, I started snorting cocaine that my friend Mike would bring me, and I went from 0 to 100 in a day. You know, I think he brought over an ounce of cocaine the very first day. I did a couple lines and I bought the entire ounce and didn't leave my apartment for like a week. And
Wow.
from then on, it was just a nightmare, you know, and that was 2005 or 2006, I'd say. And it progressively got worse. The cocaine led to heroin. The heroin led to crystal meth. The crystal meth led to smoking crack. And I never, even though I went to 58 rehabs, I never wanted to get sober because I was having fun, you know, robbing, stealing, cheating, you know, spending everybody's money except mine, and then spending mine. You know, I was having a blast um, up until it wasn't fun anymore. And then once I lost everything for the first time and nobody wanted to talk to me anymore, I went to my first rehab. And I never took anything serious because don't you know who I am? I'm Brian Meholick, the professional baseball player of 5 games. You know, the Division I athlete. I'm entitled. Don't you know? I know all this already. So I kept myself out in the drug world for 16 years because I knew everything. You know, I'm not listening to anybody. The only time I went to rehab is when I was broke. I couldn't come home. Nobody answered my phone calls, and it was just a way to, I guess, survive. Go get cleaned up a little bit, and I'll come back out and I'll keep using. So that was that.
So it was kind of a cycle for you. You would kind of like use other people to like kind of fake you were getting better, get back
Absolutely.
in,
Yeah,
and then in
you
and
know,
out.
Mom, Dad, I'm doing great. I need a cell phone. Get me the cell phone. I'd go back out. I'd sell the cell phone. You know, it was just a manipulation of of everyone that I was surrounding myself with. I manipulated everybody. You know, um, the thing that gets me like so. Let's talk about the dual diagnosis real quick. One of the things that I was taught while I was in rehab, I had a psychiatrist, and so my diagnoses are bipolar, intermittent explosive disorder, narcissist, if you couldn't tell. Um, and I think there was one more, but I forget what it was. Yeah, I think that was it. But the narcissism, you know, kept me out there for a long time because, um, you know, as a narcissist, everything's about you, and a lot of it's about self sabotage. So you know, things would be going great in my life. Everything would be perfect. You know, the girl, the job, my family, and then watch me screw this up real quick because I don't deserve, you know, to be happy. And I still do that to this day. Sometimes, you know, even being sober, um, I still do dumb stuff to kind of sidetrack a little bit, when things are going too well for me. I feel like I don't deserve it. So let me take a step back real quick and see what kind of mess I can create.
I
So
kind of actually noticed that in you in just messaging to come on the podcast. You very much questioned whether or not you deserve to come on the podcast.
I question myself quite a bit, and a lot of that stems back from my baseball playing days. I had to be perfect every opportunity that the scouts were there. You know what I mean? So I'm always, I guess, in my brain still, I'm performing in front of a crowd. In front of a group of people. Am I good enough to to be in the spot that I'm in? My job. I do heavy highway construction, and the construction I do, I'm considered the hole guy. So I'm inside of a hole and I'm doing my work, and there's guys up on top that are watching me do my work. And I'm good at what I do. I'm fast and efficient, and I'm knowledgeable, so I get my work done very fast, and it's usually 99% always right. But just like being a just like being a baseball player, everyone's watching me. So the adrenaline's going and my brain's going, and I never second guess my work in my occupation today because I'm confident in my ability of what I do. But I always questioned whether or not somebody thinks I'm good enough to be down there doing it, or if I'm good enough to progress in my career, to be a foreman one day, to be a superintendent one day, to be anything. I'm always second guessing myself. Does my girlfriend really love me? Does my daughter care about me still? Um, it's just a mind, it's my mind that hates me. And I had to get to the point where I realized that my mind is my worst enemy. Even being almost 5 years sober, um, the drugs, sometimes I'll think about, hey, Brian, you did a good job today at work. Why don't you go get high? And I'm like, yeah, okay, well, I can go get a crack pipe over here, and I'll get two lighters over here, and well, shit, I don't know anybody that sells crack anymore. So that's
It's a
good.
good thing.
That's a good thing. So, but I play the tape through all over again. That in 58 rehabs taught me that here's what's going to happen. So we'll use cocaine for instance. I'll do a line of cocaine. Here's what's going to happen. So I'm going to go out. I have $1,000 in my pocket. I have my car. I have my house keys. I have my garage door opener. I go get high. I do one line of cocaine. Here's what I lose. I spend the $1,000. I start smoking cigarettes again. I come back home with no money, with a bunch of drugs. My fiance smells the cigarettes on me, knows I'm high, kicks me out of the house. Then I get my bank card. I spend every dollar I have in the matter of probably a couple weeks. And so by then, there's no more job because I'm not going to work. I don't go to work high. I just get high. So the job's done, the promotion's done. That's all out of the question. That's all done. That's over with. Then I'm going to come back home. I'm going to pound on the door till she lets me back in, and then I'm going to um, I don't want to say manipulate, but I will threaten her for more money. She'll give me the money as I promised never to come back. And then when I'm done with that money, I'll come back and I'll beat on the door again until she calls the police. And then the police will come and tell me I'm not allowed over here anymore. And then I'll live out of my car for a while. And then my parents will find out, everyone else around me will find out that I'm using again. My friends will leave me. My daughter won't talk to me. I have no more house. All my money's gone. I have no job. I'm going to sell my car. After I sell my car, I'm going to use all that money and I'm going to get high. And then I'm going to end up in a halfway house in Brook Park, where I know they'll take me. And it's for like indigent. It's a sober living community for indigent people, pretty much. And that's where I'll end up. So that's what keeps me sober. So I know what's going to happen after one line of cocaine, just one. Um, that's what's going to happen to me. And from there on out, I haven't gotten high, because I know what's going to happen. It's not scary. I'm not scared of dying. I'm not scared of what people are going to think of me. The outsiders. My parents and everyone around me probably expect that sometimes, maybe Brian's going to go get high one day, because like I said, for 16 years, that's what I did. So only being 4.5 years sober, there's that there's that timeline that I have more time getting high than I have getting sober. So, am I good enough to stay sober? I think in my head, yeah, because I don't think there's anything in this world. Well, I'm not gonna lie. I told my fiance the other day the only time I would get high again is if someone dropped a big like army duffel bag full of kilos of cocaine and nobody saw me pick them up, and there were like 70 of them in there. Then I might think about it. But other than that, there's not a chance in hell that I'm gonna get high again. So
Was cocaine like the main one that you enjoyed?
absolutely. Until I didn't enjoy it. Yeah, but
Yeah.
it was weird. Oh, the other mental part is I have ADHD also. So the cocaine, the stimulants, they kind of slow me down to an extent. I can do drugs and sit at a table where other people want to go get beers and go out to the bars and stuff. No, leave me alone. I'm just going to sit here at the table and do copious amounts of drugs. You know, so I would use the drugs to like ease the pain of if I'm good enough or not for everybody, and so I had a psychiatrist in one of the hospitals I was at, who is still my psychiatrist to this day, and he used to say, Brian, you're never going to get sober unless you find a purpose in life. And I know, my purpose was I'm the baseball player. That's what I am. And when I stopped playing baseball, I kind of lost my identity of who Brian Meholick really is. I'm a bachelor's degree. I'm in the trades. But who am I really? So I would get high because I wanted to mask all those insecurities that I had. I would just, I'd feel bad about myself. I'm going to go get high. I did something good today. I'm going to go get high. It's raining outside. I hate rain. I'm going to get high. It's sunny outside. Awesome. Let's go get high. So everything I did was stemmed around me getting high. But my psychiatrist, like I said, he would say you have to find a purpose in life. And I'm going to take you fast forward back to my last high. So for 3 days, I would panhandle at a gas station in Akron, Ohio. And I would pull up I still had a car. I would pull up to a pump, act like I was out of gas. And this is in the wintertime. So I have sweatpants on and a hoodie and whatever kind of clothes I had in my car because I'm homeless at the time, still in my car. I would pull up next to a pump. I'd smoke a cigarette. And whoever would get out of their car around me, I would get out of my car and say, "Excuse me, sir, ma'am," because I'm a polite drug addict. Can I have a few dollars because I'm out of gas and I have to get back home to Cleveland? And they're like, "Yeah, sure, here you go." So I would take the dollar or two or the 50 cents or whatever they would give me, and I would go back and sit in my car. And I would wait till I had $10. And then once I had $10, I would leave the gas station, not getting any gas or anything else. I would leave the gas station with the $10 I had, and I'd go buy a piece of crack for $10. And then I'd get the crack, and I'd smoke it on the way back to the gas station, and I would sit there and do it again. And I did that for 3 straight days. So,
How long does it usually take, like that you need like the substance again with crack? Because I don't, I've,
yeah,
I've never tried anything really. So,
yeah, yeah. Don't take my experience and learn from this. So, um, it would just depend. I could have a bushel basket full of crack, like a closed basket full of crack. And after all that crack's gone, I would go get more. I would go want more. So the 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 brain, it's terrible on cocaine and crack cocaine. It's just doesn't work right. So um, I would like to say that was my last high. Um, March 24th, 2020. I was renting my car out to a drug dealer, which means I gave him my car. He would give me the drugs. I'd go stay in his apartment while he did whatever in my car. And I found, like a good drug addict, he left me in his apartment. He's a drug dealer. I'm going to rifle through your house because I'm going to find more drugs. So I found what they call a Percocet 30, which what I thought was a Percocet 30, which actually was a fentanyl pill. So I snorted a half of it, and the next thing I know, I guess I overdosed with my leg pinned behind my back. I came to the next day, and I couldn't walk. And mind you, this is March 24th, 2020, right when COVID started. Everybody was afraid. Blah blah blah. I couldn't walk. I couldn't move my right leg. So the drug dealer's back at his house now, and they tried to move me, I guess, the night before, and I wouldn't move, and I guess I was overdosed or whatever. But I called 911, and they took my car and they left again because they didn't want to get in trouble. So the EMTs that came to get me, when they came up to the apartment, I was in such bad shape. They were like, "Listen, dude, we're not touching you. If you want to go with us, you have to crawl down the hallway, down the steps, and when you make it out to the ambulance, we'll put you on the gurney and we'll take you to the hospital." So that's what I did, crying the whole time because I was in such pain. And when I got down there, they took me to a hospital. And when they arrived at the hospital, they took a look at me and said, "Get this guy out of here. He needs trauma one." So what I guess I did was, with my leg pinned behind my back, my right butt cheek was stopped. It stopped getting oxygen. So I guess my rear end, my backside was completely black. It was dead. So I was at the main campus hospital, University Hospitals, for 3 weeks. They did 4 emergency surgeries in 3 days. They took out half my butt cheek. And when I stayed there for 3.5 weeks, and then I went to a nursing home. And like I said, this was back in COVID, and I had an open wound. They took out half my butt cheek. I got a big butt. They took out half of it, so they had to keep packing it and keep packing it and making sure the wound wouldn't infect the rest of my body. So um, my dad would come up and he would bring me Wendy's, or he would buy me a pizza, and he couldn't see me, but the nurses and stuff would bring it to my room. And at the time, I'm on kidney dialysis also, because when the dead tissue in my rear end, it funneled through my system, so my kidneys shut down. So I was on dialysis, and I was so doped up at the point, on psych meds. Like, they had me on Depakote, and they had me on some other oxycodone still, for the pain, and I was so doped up that I wouldn't even go to the kidney dialysis. I would They would have to roll me in a wheelchair and put me in a van and strap me down in a van and then take me to dialysis. And if you know anything about kidney dialysis places, it's the saddest place in the world. Everybody there is just sad and crying, and it's cold, and it's a miserable experience. And if I ever have to get kidney dialysis again, like I tell my fiance and my parents, I will never do it again. Like, I'll die before I ever do it again. So, um, but yeah, I got sober, and the I think the thing that keeps me sober and got me sober is, instead of self medicating, I took my psych meds the way they're supposed to be taken, and I found out that I don't have to be perfect all the time. Nobody really cares what Brian Meholick's doing. As much as I think in my head, everybody's focused on Brian. Nobody gives a shit about me. In the grand scheme of things, I'm a nobody. I'm a nobody. So nobody is thinking about me as much as I think that people are thinking about me. So once I got that out of my head, that I don't have to be perfect all the time, and if I take these psych meds and I talk to people and I help people, and when I feel like I want to use again, I discuss that with people, then Brian Meholick doesn't get high. I lost a lot of things out there. I lost a relationship with my daughter. I didn't go to my grandfather's funeral, because I was in a crack house and I couldn't leave. You know, I lost a lot of stuff. Um, Not even, no, I'm not talking about monetarily, because I don't, money comes and money goes in my life. Money doesn't mean anything to me. I shop at the Salvation Army. The only thing I spend money on is my work clothes. The rest of the stuff, I have a nice Nike sweatshirt on my fiance bought me, but I go to the Salvation Army and buy my clothes because I just don't care. I like to be comfortable. But when I take my psych meds and I do the next right thing, I don't get high. You know, and I'm an open book about it. Like, People come up to me, they're like, why are you always talking about getting high and you being a crackhead and you smoking meth and stuff like that? Well, because if I talk to you about that, the situation I went through, and you know somebody that's having a problem with substance abuse, now you have an open door that you can ask me if I can help them. And that's what being sober is all about. It's like a second chance at life. I had my good times back then, and now I went through hell, and now I'm having good times again, and I can bring somebody that's going through hell and show them that, hey, bro, listen, 58 rehabs, multiple detoxes, jails, institutions, and look at me now. I have a job. I have a very good job. I have a very nice house. I have a fiance that loves me. I have parents and a daughter, and I'm a grandfather now. I mean, I don't look like a grandpa, but I'm a grandpa. So it's it all comes like full circle as long as I take my meds the way I'm supposed to take them and continually pray to God to keep me sober, then my life is pretty good, you know.
Now, a question I have for you. So, you were an addict, right?
Right.
You don't have to choose to be an addict as you move on. You can choose to be who you are today and grow into the person you want to be. And I feel like a lot of like the AA stuff and that continuous uh, identity to
Mm-hmm.
being an addict hurts
Mm-hmm.
people. How do
100%.
you feel about that?
I feel like that 100%. Now, I am Brian Meholick. I am an alcoholic, but I'm not in active alcoholism right now. So for the long time, like when I got sober, I went to these places in Cleveland that were like sober living homes, sober communities. Hey, come on in. Here's a twin bed. Here's some food. Try not to get high. And we're going to go to an AA meeting tonight. And so AA was the biggest thing to me when I first got sober. AA, the big book, blah 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 blah. I know the big book. I sponsored people. I've had multiple sponsors, and I've gone through all my steps, the 12 steps. I did my fourth step, the fifth step. AA got me sober to a point, but AA doesn't define who Brian Meholick is. I'm not an alcoholic. I'm not a drug addict because I'm not using right now. Now, do I always have a chance to go back? 100%. I can't tell you, Felicia, when I get off this podcast that I'm not going to go get high today, you know? But if I do tonight what I did last night, the chances are 100% that I'm not going to go get high. That's what I have to always tell myself, and the people that I help, I'll call them and check in with them, and I'll be like, hey, listen, maybe we'll get drunk tomorrow, but not tonight. And I'll call you tomorrow and we'll figure it out, because there's always a chance, But as far as the AA goes, around where I'm at, AA is real clicky. I'm not a clicky type guy. I don't. I have a very small group of friends, probably five, that I can count on no matter what. You know, that I trust to come into my house when I'm not here, and that's the extent of it. I've been burned too many times by people to um, to just allow them to come into my life and then screw me over in the long run. We're not going to do that anymore. So I kind of distanced myself from AA. Now, I believe that the big book and Alcoholics Anonymous is a teaching way for people that have gone outside of their normalness. It brings them back to normalness. Like it teaches you to be a good person. Well, you're not supposed to steal that pack of cigarettes from the gas station anyway, bud. So, AA will teach you that. AA will teach you that, hey, if you have a bill, you have to pay the bill. That's just, you have to live a decent life. And so from my experience, the AA around me, I'm not a fan. And it's not for me. Now I can go to a meeting and I can sit there and I can rationalize with the people there. I can synthesize. Thank you. Sympathize with the people that are giving a lead or whatever. And I can come home and whatever. It's okay, but it's just not me anymore. Um, so I'll go to a meeting here and there just to kind of recalibrate myself to maybe like a little restart, and then I just live my life.
It's like a
So
tool, right? Like that you can use to help you, but it shouldn't be something you solely rely on.
100% for that too. It's a tool that when you're new, it's almost a prerequisite of getting sober to go to AA or NA or any of the any A's around there. You need to get a fellowship of people that you can call and talk to. That when you're having a crisis in your head, whether or not you're like a mental crisis or a drug addiction crisis, that you can call and you can find a solution if you call enough people. Um, but I have those people in my life already that I don't have to go to a meeting and get numbers. I already know the numbers. I know the numbers in my head. I don't need more numbers. Like I said, I keep my circle very small. And the big book, like I said, it just teaches you not to be a piece of shit. You know, which most normal people aren't. So
There's
that's
plenty of people that are and don't have substance abuse issues
yeah,
either. So
yeah.
there's
Well,
enough
there's
people that just need to know right from wrong, I guess.
right, and that's what it is. And there's a lot of those people that are POSs in the rooms too. They're predators and just don't want the best for people. And I stay away from stuff like that because if I can't. If I'm in a room, if I'm not in a room and somebody's talking about me and I have a friend in that room, I expect that friend to have my back when I'm not in there. And the few people that I do associate myself with, I know that's what happened, and I stay out of it now. I stay out of the whole AA thing. I still talk. I still have a guy um, for 15 years. Now I've known this guy for 15 years, and I got sober March 16th of 2021, and I can go through my phone right now and scroll text messages back to 2020, and he texts me every morning. His name's Chris. He texts me every morning between 4 and 4:15, and the only time he doesn't text me is if he goes on AA retreats. But other than that, 7 days a week, he texts me inspirational things, and I read them every morning, and I say, "Thanks, Chris. Love you too." And that's just it. He said, "I love you, Brian." Hey, Chris, thank you. I love you too. Every morning, it's like a routine. And then I got another guy that moved to South Carolina that's done the same thing for me. Every morning, pray and meditate every morning for 5 years. So those are my people that, it kind of remind me that who I used to be and who I don't want to be anymore.
The
So,
circle that or the people that you surround yourself with is so important,
yeah.
especially when you have tendencies to go down the wrong path, right? And it can easily be influenced to do the wrong thing if you're around the wrong people. That's
Mm-hmm.
why the circle being small is so important. Used to have endless friends, and like not due to like substance abuse or anything. It's just like for me it was just like I grew out of like the big friend group, and like when you're younger like you go out partying and stuff like that, and then like now I have like my husband and maybe like two friends, you know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and like that's more than enough.
I had the best group of childhood friends growing up you could ever hope to have. And I did nothing but screw them over. My, my good buddy, I stole his camcorder, him and his wife's camcorder. I don't mean to laugh with their daughter's first birthday party on it,
Oh
and I sold
no.
that for drugs. And after that, our friendship was over. And I saw him like 2 years ago for the first time in like 13 years, and he was over at my brother's house, and he came up to me, and I looked at him. I said, "What's up, bro?" And he was like, "How you doing, Brian?" I said, "I'm sober." So that was good. But the other guys, it was. I still talk to my friend Jason out in Florida. October 1st is his birthday. I text him. I call him every year on his birthday. We might talk 2 or 3 times a year, but he was one of my best friends. And my buddy Eric, we got into a fist fight over an ex girlfriend's house because they left me at the bar, and I had to walk home in the winter with a short sleeve shirt on. And I haven't talked to him since, but they're all good guys, and we'd all still be best as friends. But Brian had to go smoke crack, so Brian gets pushed out of the circle because I wouldn't want a friend that was, smoking crack, stealing my stuff either. I wouldn't want a friend like that. So when they exited out of my life, it was to protect them and their family, which I 100%, um, I congratulate. Thank you, because I would have done everything I could to manipulate you for more money, and I would have just continually screwed you over. So you did the best thing in the world for you and your family by exiting me out of the situation. So
That awareness alone like helps you kind of like cope with the relationships that you've tanked, right? Like you came to the realization that you were the problem and like
yeah,
it's a good thing that they distance themselves. So when
absolutely.
it comes to like mending these relationships, right? Like you said basically you've tanked every relationship up until you got sober. So,
Yep.
what did you do to kind of go back and mend those relationships, like with family and with friends?
So when I was in active addiction, the very last time my parents and I had talked was, if you come to the house one more time, we're calling the cops. My brother and sister had nothing to do with me. Um, the only relationship besides my family and my fiance that I really was actively trying to fix, I gave up on all those other relationships. Hey, listen, I screwed up. I'm not going to go back. I'll tell you I'm sorry when I see you. I'm not going to go hunt you down to apologize and buy you a camcorder. All I can do is say I'm sorry. Hey, bud, I'm sorry I beat you up in the front yard of this house back when I was getting high. I'm sorry that happened. I'm sorry I stole your camcorder. The only relationship I actively tried to mend was the relationship I had with my daughter. Um, I would see the thing is, I would get high less than 2 miles from where she grew up. When her and her mom got a house, I would be smoking crack at a drug house like a mile and a half down the road. And every time I went there, I would drive by her house knowing that I'm going to smoke crack. I'm not going to see her. And nothing in this world could get me to just pull in her driveway and say hi. It was always, I'm on the phone with a dope dealer. I'll be there in 2 minutes. You know, my brain, sorry, honey, the drugs are more important. And if she ever watches this, and I've told her many times since I got sober, the drugs were more important than you. The drugs are more important than everybody, and that's just the bottom line. The drugs ruled my world. It took everything from me, and there was nothing you could do. Like AA will say, call someone before you use. Why would I call you? I'm going to use drugs. Why would I want you to try to talk me out of it? I'm going to speed dial call, like blow up my dope dealer's phone 9 or 10 times. Hey, I'm right around the corner. Hey, I'm here. Hey, I got more money than. I'm going to call this guy 7 or 8 times. I'm not calling a sponsor, a fiance, or a parent saying, "Hey, I'm going to go get high." No, you're not going to bring me down. No, I'm going to get high. So I'd be smoking crack in a house a mile and a half away from where my daughter was growing up at. And um, I'd get cleaned up. I'd be at a rehab facility, and I'd want to fix the relationship right away. Oh, mom, see if you can get my daughter. I'm not going to say my daughter's name on here, but um, yeah, I will. Her name's Bailey. So, hey, see if you can get Bailey to talk to me, and my mom would make the phone call, or my fiance would make the phone call. Hey, your dad's like 25 days sober. He'd like to talk to you. And sometimes my daughter would talk to me, and sometimes she wouldn't. But I'd always make these grand plans like, hey, things are going to be different now. Uh, Dad's not going to get high anymore. And I want to be the father that I you knew before I started getting high, because my daughter was born before I started using heavy narcotics. So I was in her life for, I'd say 4 years. She might say three. I want to say 3 or 4. I don't remember really, but so there are all these grand ideas that I would have, and I would leave rehab, and instead of going to do what I told her I was going to go do, I'd go straight back to the dope house. That's the insanity. Like, Bailey, I'm gonna stay sober so you can have a father that was an athlete. You're an athlete. I can help you do the softball, the stuff that I kind of know because I was a baseball player. I can help you instead of having your grandfather help you. You can have a Division I ex pro baseball player help you. I'm smoking crack. Bottom line, that's just the way it is. Or I'm going to snort some heroin, overdose, get hit with Narcan 13 times, and then that was my life for almost 16 years, day after day. Um,
Was there any like guilt that sat with you, or did you even think about it because of the drugs?
there would be guilt, but then there wouldn't be any. Like I would come over to the house I would come over to our house. When I say our house, I'm talking about my fiance and I's house. I would come here and full bore bang on the front door because I'm locked out. No key, no garage door opener. It's 3 in the morning. I'm banging on the door. I live on a double cul-de-sac, and you can hear me pounding down the road because I'm beating on the door so bad. Oh, hun, please, $20. And at the time, I'm guilt, shame, and remorse. Like I can't believe I'm doing this. And then I get the $20, and I'm down the road. You know, and I promise I'm not coming back. And then I get high, and I'm like, how could you ever do that to her? You are a maniac. You are a self-centered piece of shit asshole because you're traumatizing this woman. You're, and then the high would wear out, and guess what I'd do? I'd come back on the window until she gave me more money. Then she got smart. She started calling the police, and I still have a push on my crack pipe. So I would hide my crack pipe and my Newport Menthol 100 pack of empty cigarettes in my gas tank. And I'd stay there until the cops came. And when the cops said, hey, man, you got to go, I would leave. But that's just, the guilt, shame, and remorse always came while I was high. And then, like, we have no business. I have nothing to say to you on the phone besides I need money, or I need you to. This was back. I was getting high before Cash App, Zelle, Venmo, PayPal. She would have to go to Giant Eagle, which is a grocery store, Western Union me $20 or $25, spend $25 just to send me the money, and she did this multiple times, and it's people say that her and my father enabled me to continue in addiction. What she and my father did was prevented me from going to prison. Because if I didn't have them, I would have stuck a pistol in somebody's face, or I would have robbed a store. I'd be dead or in prison right now if it wasn't for my fiance or my father. That they didn't always do it, but when I was down bad, and they knew I was on the verge of doing something very, very stupid, here's $20, here's $30. Don't ask again, Okay, thank you. I promise I won't. I'm asking again. As soon as those drugs are over, hey, I'm asking again. And it would usually be a hang up phone call I get hung up on, and then my number would get blocked. Um, but no, it was it's some crazy stuff on drugs make normal people do some very abnormal things. And I'm a living testament of that.
A lot of people are really. I mean, there's the substance abuse just in the United States is insane, not to mention, other places in the world.
Yeah.
I mean, it all starts with alcohol, right? And then it kind of trickles down from there. We all start alcohol way too young, and then that leads to other things.
Yeah.
Um, you're looking for that numbness in life where you don't feel anything.
Yeah, that's the whole goal. The whole goal. Like I don't consider myself an alcoholic per se alcohol, I can drink like an alcoholic. I could drink like an alcoholic, but did I ever need alcohol? Like that always that's one of the things in my head, like when I'm out there smoking crack because I'm a crackhead, how can somebody need to wake up and have a drink just to make themselves feel better? Well, why do I need to go snort a line of heroin so I'm not sick? But I can't imagine somebody taking 3 shots of gas station vodka so they can get up, but I'm going to steal all the gold out of my fiance's um, uh, jewelry box, and I'm going to go get high. I can't understand. I can't, just doesn't mesh with me. Like I'm a different type of drug addict, you know?
Well, a lot of these people too, they take prescription drugs as well. So we
Mhm.
have the opiate crisis, right? Like we have a lot of people using different types of prescription drugs and they're abusing those. And I think too, we don't look at that so much as the same as crack, but it's the same exact thing.
Same exact thing. Yeah. They, and that, So I did heroin, I did fentanyl, I did pills, but the reason I was not an 100% opiate addict is because I could not wrap around my brain to spend $30 for one pill that I was snorting one line. I can't do that. I mean, that's horrible. I can't do that. That's too much money for me. Let me go out and buy $30 worth of crack so at least I can stay high for a little bit. But
With the fentanyl, so I mean that's super deadly, right, for a lot of people. Like a lot of people, like my husband's stepbrother, he actually died from using drugs and it had fentanyl in it, and so that's kind of a scary thing to think about, right? Like you can easily get the wrong drug off the street and then just EOD. So
yeah,
is that another factor into something that can keep you sober? Is just like that scary, or you're just like I don't
no.
care, it's worth the risk?
If I'm going back out, I don't care. If I go back out and get high, I'm going out to die because I will never ever get sober again. And that's what keeps me sober. I'm never going to go through what I had to go through to get sober again. The next time, if I ever go out, I'm going to die, and I already have that in my mind. Here you go, hun. I'm leaving. Take this, this, and this. I won't be back, and we're gonna go till the wheels fall off, until I'm dead or in prison, because that's where it's at in my life anyway. Like I said, I have a very physically demanding job. My body hurts every day. There's not a day that goes by that I don't want to snort a Percocet, but I don't, because I know where that's going to take me. Like I said though, if I ever go back out, it's all bad. But
Well, hopefully that never happens.
and that's why I always say if I do what I did yesterday, today, the chances of me getting high are slim and none. So there's 100% chance I'm never going to use again. As long as I did today what I did yesterday, I'm never going to get high. So all that bad stuff I'm talking about, it's never going to happen. So, but I do tell. So I have a stepson named Tim, and I tell my daughter Bailey, and they're friends too. And I'm open and honest about what I did. If you don't go to the pharmacy and pick the prescription up yourself, chances are you're getting a fake pill nowadays. Percocet, Xanax, Adderall, you're all getting it from wherever they're getting it from. I don't know where that's coming from. Who knows? But nobody's ever going to tell you the 100% truth of where the drugs come from. But if you don't go to the pharmacy and pick them up yourself, they're not real, and that's how you have to always think about these pills that are going um, around the towns that they're in. They're everything's fake. I think the cocaine's fake. I think the meth is. Last time I did meth, I was getting it for $10 a gram. That was years ago, but I don't. I don't know. I wouldn't trust anything nowadays. So
That's enough to keep me from doing drugs. I can tell you that. Like just the fact
absolutely.
that even something as simple as like going to some EDC show or something and like taking Molly, like I'm
Yeah,
good. I'm good.
yeah.
I
I'm
don't know
good,
what's in
bro.
that.
No, take a little ecstasy pill that's got fentanyl in it. You're thinking about seeing weird lights and stuff, and getting all horned up, and you die. You
Yeah.
know.
No,
No,
thank you.
no, I'm good with that. I'm good on that. So
So now that you've been sober for a while,
mhm.
and when that began, how long did it take for you and your daughter to really like have a good relationship, like a real relationship?
um, she doesn't trust me. She didn't trust me
Fair
for a
though.
long time. 100% fair. I wouldn't trust me either. You know, she worries about me constantly. You know, she's 26 years old. She has her own family now. Like I said, I'm a grandfather. I just became a grandfather a couple months ago. Um,
Congrats.
Thank you. Thank you. So she's got her own life to worry about now, you know. She's always going to care about her dad, but where her dad falls into her priorities in life now, it's not really where I would like my status to be, but I accept it, you know, because I wasn't there. So how can I say, I need you to answer the phone every time I call you? Well, Dad, you weren't in my life for 15 years. Why do you have to be? Why do I have to do that now? Who are you? You know, she knows I love
Yeah.
her. She knows that if she ever needs anything, I'm like an hour and a half away from where she lives now. I'll be there in 45 minutes. You know, with no questions asked. I don't care what she ever does. We don't have to tell nobody. We'll figure it out. So she knows that I'm that type of dad that if anything would ever happen, I'm coming to get you, no matter what. So um, the relationship we have now, I don't want to say it's strained. It's just it's hit and miss, you know. And
It's
I
in
have
the works.
it is, and you know, like I said, 5 years in March. That's that's the drop in the bucket compared to as long as I've been out there. So
Yeah.
I have a lot of catching up to do. I have a lot of I don't want to say amends to make because the best thing I could have ever done for my daughter is stay away from her when I was using. I actually ran into her at a gas station one time when I was high, and her and her girlfriend walked in the door as I was coming out, and I'm like, Bailey. She's like, Dad, and she just kind of put her head down and kept walking, and I remember that to this day. You know, like I guess her friend was like, who's that? And Bailey was like, nobody. So you know, that's one of those things that I have to live with. You know, it's the consequences of my actions, and I'm a grown enough man to accept the fact that I really screwed up in life. You know, but look what I'm doing now. You know, I don't hurt anybody. I try to make every day. My fiance is probably going to laugh if she hears me say this, but I try not to hurt anybody. If I don't hurt anyone today, then I did good. You know, my life is a mess every day. Something goes wrong at work. Something goes wrong at home. Um, you know, my dad just had triple bypass surgery, so I was worried about that. So that's a mess. My mom's not doing very well. You know, everything could be better, but everything could be a lot worse too. You know, but if I pick up another drug, all that stuff goes away and it all goes back to shit. So we're just not going to get high today. You know.
Did it take a while to build back your relationship with your parents?
Um, so when I was in the nursing home, um, my fiance was the biggest advocate for me in that nursing home because at the time I was not coming home. My parents were done with him. You know, I'll bring him spicy chicken sandwiches from Wendy's, and I'll bring him a little Caesar's pizza and a vanilla milkshake almost every day. But he's never coming home. We're never going to invite him back to the house. The way I was so doped up there, they said I was cognitive. So let's rewind for a minute. So I went to a during this compartment syndrome is what they call it when I lost half my butt cheek. I guess I had two strokes along the way in my active addiction. I don't remember. I don't remember them, but they did some CAT scans and MRIs and found out that I had had two strokes. So as I'm in this nursing home, doped up on oxycodone and Depakote and whatever else they were feeding me, I was a mess mentally. And my fiance called my parents and said, "Listen, he's going to die in there if you don't help him." And I think that a day later, my parents came to get me. They're like, we want my son out of here," and they came to get me. And I was so messed up, I couldn't walk at the time, so I was in a wheelchair. And the time of day, I'd call my parents at 4 in the morning, thinking it was noon, and it was just all bad for me, and it was bad for everybody involved in the situation. But I couldn't walk, so I'm in a wheelchair, and I'd wake up and I'm in a wheelchair, and I had to go to the bathroom. Well, when you're in a nursing home, you're not allowed to enter other residents' rooms. Well, I'm in a wheelchair, and I have to use the bathroom. I'm going in your room, and I'm going to the bathroom in your toilet. And I got caught a bunch of times doing that. And I would never wear a mask because everybody, oh, you have to wear this cloth mask. I'm not wearing no mask, bro. I'm not doing
It
it.
was a weird
And
time. It was a
weird
weird
time.
time.
And I got half a butt cheek, bro, and you're making me want to wear a mask. I'm in a wheelchair, so they said I'm cognitively impaired. You'll never work another day in your life. You'll always be in a residential nursing home. And my fiance, like I said, called my parents and was like, "Hey, Brian's going to die in there if you don't help him," and they did. So I got out of
Is
there.
your
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Um, you asked me about my parents, how long it took to build up the relationship with them. Um, it took me a couple weeks because I still had that open wound on my butt, and my parents let me come back there to my parents' house because my fiance, I could not come back home. The trust wasn't there right now, so I was back at my parents' house. I'm 41 years old, like and a good adult back at his parents' house, getting taken care of, and my work clothes being washed for me, and my butt being helped, and all this stuff, and day by day it got better, and I have their house key, I have their garage door opener. I'm allowed to come over whenever I want. I talk to them daily. I talk to my parents every day, um, and but like I said, it took a good minute, like a couple months before they were actually like, all right, Brian's not getting high right now. So let's see what we can, I don't know if they ever try to catch me, like maybe leave some money around or something. I don't know if they ever try to do anything like that. But I built the trust every day by getting up, going to work, not lying to them when I was done with work, coming home, and just not being a piece of shit, and they started to believe that, hey, Brian's not going to get high anymore. And in their minds, Brian's not getting high anymore, so we trust him, which is awesome. It's the best thing that could ever happen, Like I could walk in their house at any point, and they're not going to call the police. It's the best news ever, because for a long time, Brian pulls into the driveway, the cops are on the way. So,
It's
but
a
yeah, we have
different
a great.
life now.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, we have a great relationship. Like I said, I talk to him every day, um, just to let him know I love you. For a long time we didn't talk. The only time we talked was just for money. So if anything, it's, hey Dad, hey Mom, how are you? Dad, how you feeling? He just had the triple bypass. Mom, how are you doing? My mom has dementia, um, slight dementia, and so try to make sure everybody's good. And hey, I'm good. Don't worry about me. I'm good. So whatever I can do to help is where I want to be. So
Now you keep mentioning your fiance. So when did you guys meet? This isn't the mother of your
no,
no? Okay.
no, it's
So
not the mother like that. We met. Hold on, real quick. Hey, Bab, can I talk about this? All right, she's in their office working. We met on Match.com.
okay.
Yeah, and I have a lawsuit right now against Match.com.
Oh.
It was a joke. It's a joke because we met and I was the normal guy, like wine and fine dining. I'm smoking crack in a garage while I'm on Match.com. You know what I mean? So
Oh, so you did this like while you were on Match.com while you were
yeah,
like basically cracked out hanging by
cracked out,
yourself.
bro. Yeah, cracked out, and I was this and this and this, and that's why I say I'm for false advertising. I'm suing Match.com, but she should be the one suing them. It's a little inside thing, but no, she's been with me through the whole time, the whole thing. A lot of ups and downs, a lot of betrayal, a lot of me stealing, um, but she's still here. Thank God.
How long before she knew you were like on drugs? Was she using it all, or was it just
Oh,
like?
no, no, she is. She's sober as everybody could ever be. I think the first time I ever came to the house, she opened up her medicine cabinet, and I said, "Oh, what do you got in there?" And I think that was the first time that she was like, hmm? And then we have some stories. I'm not going to tell any stories, but she's she's been with me through through everything. And if it wasn't for her, like I said, I'd be dead or in prison. So I love her to death. Um, I owe her. I always tell people that she's going to heaven with jetpack strapped to her ass. So the shit that I did to her. So she she's still here, and she tells me she loves me. So hopefully that's true.
Clearly,
But
she loves you because if she did not, she would not still be
no,
there.
no, she's the greatest. She's we uh we have our ups and downs just like any relationship.
Yeah.
I'm a very, very, here's my narcissism again. I have to have things. I'm a control freak, so things have to be my way. um Part of my decompression to alleviate stress from my life and from work and stuff is I danger scroll on my phone. Doom scroll on my phone. I'll watch reel after reel after reel after reel, and I'll sit in my chair. Leave me alone. I don't care what's going on right now. Just leave me alone for a little bit. Yeah, she'll be talking, and I'll be like, and then she'll be like, hey, do you remember? I don't even know you were talking to me, because to part of me, just like the escape out of reality is scrolling on my phone, which is horrible to do, and
It's a different kind of addiction.
bad, bad, bad. I mean, I'm in an algorithm right now where I see the cartels making cocaine, and then I see child predators getting beat up, and then I see Nick Fuentes. I don't know if you know who that is. Talk about politics, and I see a bunch of Charlie Kirk assassination stuff, and I'm in a crazy algorithm, and it's I'll find some funny stuff and I'll send it to her, but it can go on for hours. I'll get lost in my phone for hours. Um, yeah, even standing up. I'll be standing next to my bed. I'll tell her, hey, I'm going to bed. Love you. Bye. And I'll go upstairs, and like 45 minutes later, I'll come back downstairs, and I'm just like, hon, I got stuck. And when I say I got stuck, like I got stuck standing up next to my bed watching YouTube shorts of like Green Beret and Navy SEAL stuff I don't give two shits about, but I'm watching it. It's the craziest thing, but it,
I
it
mean, it's
helps.
better than drugs.
Right,
So,
right. I'm not smoking crack in my garage today. I'm just scrolling. So, but like I said, we have our ups and downs. I'm not as clean as she is. As far as I've lived in abandoned houses. I've had to bring 5 gallons of water into the house I was staying at to flush the toilet. I'm a underground utility union construction worker, so I always have dirt somewhere on my hands. Even though they're clean, I'm still dirty. She is the prototypical. She keeps our house like a museum. Thank God. And I can only hope to try to live up to the way she treats me. So that's that.
oh, that's awesome. I wanted to clarify that because you kept saying your fiance, but then like we talked about in the beginning, and then there was a lot of her helping. So I was like, where did that fall into place?
Yeah, I wasn't going to bring her up just to keep her kind of out of my stuff, because like I said, the government organization that I actually work around told me I was not allowed to discuss them, which is fine. She
Yeah.
works for somebody that knows my situation. The person she works for knows my situation, but I don't want to bring it around. That's why I'm not saying her name. I'm not bringing it to
Yeah.
her and encompassing her with all of my crap. So I
Oh,
try
yeah.
try to leave her out of that, and I'll still mention her like she's my saving grace. But when it comes down to it, she's away from me, and I'm here. This is my story. I don't want to hurt somebody by mentioning something I shouldn't, and then getting them wrapped up in some crap. So that's why she's been brought in, but kept away a little bit. You know what I mean?
She's just that angel that got you through it.
Yeah, she is. So she bought me this. You can't probably can't see it, but I have this Saint Benedict wrist thing that I have, and this is my good luck thing, and my Saint Michael Archangel, a little medallion. Those are my good luck things. And if I always say, if one breaks, I leave. My dad had his triple bypass. I took it off the night before he was going in for surgery on Sunday, and I handed it to him, and I said, "Listen, if you get scared, just squeeze this." And he got through it and gave it back to me, so I got it on. But I mean, she gave me these things, and these are in like intricate part of my life that they don't leave me, just like hers. So It's pretty good.
It's hard to find somebody so special in your life, so knowing
Yeah.
not to screw that up is a good thing.
Oh, Lisa, I've screwed it up multiple times. I screw it up daily. You know, everything I do is I screw up, but I'm okay with that now. Like in the house is a museum. My house is a museum. She cleans everything. Everything's if I move a pillow in the room that we never even go in, she'll be like, "Brian, why did you move the pillow? Why did the pillow move? Why?" Oh, yeah, that's she would put stuff places so I wouldn't steal her stuff. So she would like she would know where everything's at, and if something's missing, that means Brian went through it. So
You did that to her. You made her
yes,
that kind of crazy.
100%. Yeah, I did that, and I feel horrible about it. But yeah, she saved my life. So
Well, at least you have something to remind you every single day of why you're doing what you're doing and bettering yourself every day and not going backwards.
yeah, I try to help everybody I can. I'm money doesn't mean much to me. $100 was like a dollar bill. $1,000 is like $100 bill back then, and even today, I make money every day. We're doing fine here. Um, I try not to hurt anybody, and if anybody needs help, I'm usually the first one there to help. Um, I just try, like I said, I just try to be a good boy, and we're not going to get high today. You know, that's all.
That's all you
That's
can
all
do
I
is
got.
take it like a day at a time and work on
Yeah.
yourself every single day and giving back to others really like feeds into you too. So,
Yeah. People say never, but I can. I'm never going to get high again. I'm never going to. I'm never going to find a army bag full of cocaine. So I'm never going to get high, and it's just a better way to live. Once I got my mental health under control, and I can, um, when I'm having an episode like an ADHD episode or a narcissist episode or an intermittent explosive disorder episode, I can I can be like, okay, slow down. The best advice I ever got in all the therapy sessions and all the psychiatry sessions, in all the counseling groups that I've been in, probably thousands, is if I don't know what to do, don't do anything. So when I don't know what to do with myself, I don't do anything. I sit. And then whatever's going on in my head, it'll eventually stop and I'll be at peace. And then I don't have to do anything erratic. I don't have to go beat somebody up. I don't have to go kick in somebody's door. I don't have to smoke crack. I don't have to quit my job till my foreman F off. Um, I can just be me, and without destroying anything around me during my crisis in my head, I just sit there. And usually in a couple minutes it goes away and I can be a normal person again. But what I never do, I take my meds religiously and I pray. And a lot of people say, oh, it's the pharmaceuticals aren't good for you. A lot of them aren't, they'll hurt you. It's the only thing saving my life.
I
I'm
think there's situations, right? We have pharmaceuticals for a reason. I think the problem is that we got away from only using them when needed versus we use them like our pharmaceutical companies and like all these doctors' offices. They're pushing anything and everything they can, and that's where we kind of got away from using it for what it's for versus prescribing anything to anyone. Does that make sense?
It does. So when I was at one of the hospitals, one of the inpatient rehabs, I was on a multiple of different stuff. Um, the only thing that has helped me, and I'll tell you my regimen. I take Seroquel. I take 300 milligrams of Seroquel, and then that's it. I used to take Strattera, which is a non-stimulant ADHD, but I stopped taking that because I couldn't clear my bladder. That's why. That's the only reason why I stopped taking it. I'll tell you the truth. But the Seroquel, it's a life changer for me. With my manicness, my intermittent explosive disorder, my violent tendencies, I'm pretty much on an even playing field at all times. I take it at night. It lets me sleep. The racing thoughts, that used to go in my head. I used to describe them as I'm going down a tunnel that's rotating with graffiti on the wall, and I can't make it out, but it keeps spinning, and I keep walking. I don't know what I'm doing. And then I started taking the Seroquel, and when the Seroquel got into my system and started doing what it was supposed to do, it changed my life. So I'll never stop
So,
taking it.
some things are needed. I mean, there are plenty of people out there that need certain drugs to just function as a normal person.
Yeah,
And that is quite okay. Like, as long as you need it, you should be taking it.
yeah. No, like I said, it saved my life. I'm on 300 milligrams, and a lot of people are like, "Wow, that's a lot," but it's good for me. It makes me.
Now,
Well,
I don't think everybody needs to be on Xanax, and I feel like that's like
no.
overprescribed.
Yeah, yeah. Go take one. Go take one of these Xanax, or take this Ativan, or take this lithium. Eat the lithium. You'll
Yeah.
be fine. Yeah, no, no. The Seroquel does just fine for me. I wake up in the morning clear headed. Like I said, it puts me to sleep, which is nice. The racing thoughts stopped. When I had racing thoughts before, I'm leaving. I'm going to go shut my brain off. So now the racing thoughts are over with. I can go to sleep no matter what happens throughout the day. I could have a horrible day at work. I could have a water main blow up on me, or everything could go wrong. Jen tells me she hates me or whatever, and I'm okay. I'm going to sleep. And then the racing thoughts stop, and I'm able to wake up the next day and try again. But as long as I don't pick up drugs or alcohol today, there's always going to be tomorrow. We can try to figure it out. The minute I
Yeah.
pick up again, it's over with. So we're not even going to go there.
Knowing that makes it not worth it.
Definitely not. No, losing everything that I've worked so hard to acquire again and again and again and again and keep throwing it all away for drugs. No, we're
Well, and
just gonna.
just think of how much time you've wasted too that could have been spent with the people that you love and care about. And now you only have so much time left, and we don't know when that is, right? Like none of us know. You can go anytime. Anything can happen at any point in time, and we don't know how much time we have left. So then when you waste so much time on just feeling nothing, you want to spend every waking moment making the memories that you want to with those people that you love.
Right. Yep. I was never home. Now I don't leave the house. I don't leave. I go to work and I come home. I don't do anything. I don't do anything. I'm happy where I'm at. I'm happy with my life, and everything. It could always be better, but it could be a lot worse too. And right where we're at right now, we're just going to keep it going, and like I said, we're just going to enjoy what we have to go.
It's all we can do. Do
Yeah.
you want to end with like a piece of advice that you would give somebody else, maybe who's gone through some of the similar things that you've gone through? Kind of what would help someone get to that right point, get on track without losing half their butt?
Right. Um, my advice is if you need help, ask. Ask for help. I always tell people that have someone in their life like me, never stop loving them because you never know when it's going to change. My parents, my fiance, they always prayed for me. They always loved me. They might not have liked what I was doing, but the love was always there. So never stop loving the people that are out there hurting themselves. And get your mental health in check. A counselor, a psychiatrist. There's places around town that will help you for free. You just have to want to be helped, and they will accept you, and they will help you, and they will give you the care that you need to start on your path of sobriety. And like the best thing that I was ever told, if you don't know what to do, just don't do anything. Just sit down until the feeling goes, and normally you'll be okay afterwards. So that's yeah, and don't snort your meds. Take them the right way.
That probably helps, right?
Yeah, yeah. If you take the meds the prescribed way, it definitely helps. That was funny. Yep.
I like that ending.
Yeah,
That
you
was a
like that?
great piece.
Cool.
Well, Brian, I thank you so much for coming on, telling your
Mhm.
story. I know it's not always the easiest story to tell when you have a vulnerable story like this, so it's appreciated that you're sharing it because sharing your story helps other people, move on with their life and kind of get to a better place and see hope at the end, right?
Absolutely.
whether it's a daily struggle, whether it's, something that you get over and you move on, it doesn't matter what it is. It's still hard work every single day. We all go through stuff. So I appreciate you
Yep.
telling your story.
Thank you for having me.
And hopefully we didn't talk too much about people that we shouldn't have talked about.
No, we're good. Everybody's fine.
Okay.
Everybody's happy.
And until next time, guys, bye.